Hello, my name is Scott Fromey, and welcome to the Backwoodsman Institute. Well, it's about September. Archery season's just around the corner, and if you guys remember, in one of the videos I shot last fall, I had harvested a fairly nice buck. Now, I didn't go ahead and get a full mount done. But what I do with a majority of the deer that I do harvest, or the bucks I harvest, you know, if you want to mount them, do a whole mount, that could get expensive. So one of the ways that I do it is I preserve the head, you know, in what a European style mount would be. So like I said, this is what you would consider a European style mount, except for the difference between a European style mount and the way I like to do it is a European style mount has the skull painted a gloss white. I don't like that. I like a more of a natural color, you know, and the natural antlers at least, and with the natural bone color is what I like to do. So that's my version of a European skull mount. So how do I get it from, you know, a regular head to this point? Well, one of the ways that you could do it is, and a lot of the taxidermists do it, is they flesh as much as off the skull as they can, and then they cook it a little bit. And what that does is softens up the membranes and cooks a lot of stuff out of it, but that's a lot of work. And I've tried it. It is a lot of work. So I decided, you know, there's got to be an easier way. So what I do is I take the skull and bury it just to the top of here, you know, in the dirt, and let the insects take care of that, you know, the nasty part of cleaning it up. And they do a pretty good job of it. One of the things that you're going to have to take in consideration is when you bury it is, you know, you want to get the dirt up high enough, like I said, gives the insects, they can clean off as much as they can here. And whatever they don't get, you can clean off the rest. It's pretty simple, and I'll show you about that here in a minute. So another thing is, if, you know, you don't want to leave the antlers exposed to the sunlight. I leave the heads buried almost a year, if not longer. You know, if I harvest the deer that fall, as soon as I'm done skinning, I cut the head off and I bury it. And then the next year, I'll dig it back up again. So it's there for, you know, almost a year, if not a little longer. One of the ways I do it, I cover up the antlers. If I can get a 5-gallon bucket over every, you know, each antler, I do that. If not, I have to come up with some type of way to shade the antlers and keep them from drying out in the sun. Now, that deer that I shot last fall is what I got buried here behind me. Now, you want to pick a spot, usually in the yard or next to the house or somewhere that, here I got it behind the garage, but where you're going to have to watch it to keep the animals from digging it up, or at least keep an eye on it periodically. So you don't want to go out, you know, away from the house too far. I kind of keep it, you know, like I said, close to the house where I can watch it. So this is the buck that I got buried. His head is the one that I shot last fall. So let's go ahead and take everything off and see what I come up with. Like I said, I got each bucket is covering up one side of the antler. So as you can see, you know, everything's fairly good. Nothing's too wrong with the antlers so far. And then I'll go ahead and dig this head up. So there you have it. You can tell that it's kind of stained a little bit. It's got some of the dirt on it. Got just a little bit tuft of hair. Go ahead and see if I can't peel what's left of it off there by hand. So there he is. So it's all cleaned out. Everything's cleaned up. The next step after I dig it up is to go ahead and hose it off and clean it up, clean all the dirt out of there. So get busy with that and we'll get back with you. Okay, here we got the deer head all cleaned up. Well, not perfectly cleaned up, but a majority of it cleaned up. Basically, I did a lot of it with just a garden hose and brought it in here in the barn here and kind of just put a final scrub to it. what will happen is, next, is I'll go ahead and take it to a taxidermist, and what he does is he goes through all these bones and teeth and kind of glues them in place, because what's going to happen over time is as the skull bone, you know, dries out and shrinks, there's some nasal bones and some teeth that kind of get loose and could fall out over time. So what he does is he takes that and glues them, presets them. You can see that this is kind of brown stained from the dirt as compared to this one here. How do you get it to that? How do you get it to that bone color? Is you're going to paint it. You're going to paint it like just a bone or an eggshell white color. Just a natural bone color is what I request when I do that. Now, after I get it back from the taxidermist, what I usually do is there's places in here where you can put like a wire on there, and then I'll basically just hang it on the wall, just with that wire. So this is one way of preserving your trophies. I like it doing it like this because I can actually mount quite a few, you know, deer heads together on the wall versus what the space takes up for a full mount. So I can actually put more trophies on my wall than doing it this way than doing the shoulder mounts. Like I said, after I get it back, it's, you know, it's done through its drying period, obviously, because it's been, you know, almost a year ago that I did it. I can go ahead and get this one scored. Now, this one may not be a, you know, a big trophy, but as far as Pope and Young, I shot it with archery, and if I'm not mistaken, you need a 125 score for that to make it. In Indiana, you need like, I think it's a 145 to make the Indiana record book. So being as this one was shot with archery, you know, I might qualify for the Pope and Young. So I'll go ahead and, after I get it back, I'll go ahead and get it scored and see where that lies at. So basically that's it. That's all I'm fooling with on this head, you know, before I take it to the taxidermist. And I'll bury it, like I said, hide and all. You know, everything. I don't worry about fleshing anything out. Leave the skin on, the eyes in, the jawbone, everything is just planted right there in the dirt, and let nature take care of it from there. It's a good, easy way, kind of economical way to preserve some of your trophy deer that you guys are harvesting out there. So, hope you learned a little bit. Catch you out in the woods.